I'm the Hacksaw, welcome back to the channel. Good morning from Poznan. Two things that I found that I want to check out today. The first one is where I'm headed now. Basically, it's a Enigma museum. It looks very cool, looks very interactive, and yeah, so I'm going to go and check that out. And then the second thing is later on today, I'm going to go to the Croissant Museum and I'm going to learn how to make croissants. I can quite honestly say that might be one of the best museums I've ever been to. Amazing displays, really well designed, incredibly interactive, brilliant for kids if you've got kids. Basically chronicles the story of three main cryptologists, of which there weren't that many actually in Poland at the time in World War II, attempting to crack the Enigma code. I mean, they basically cracked the code before anybody else could through mathematics. Just amazing, like really amazing and very excellent exhibition, and I've learned loads about Polish cryptography that I had absolutely no idea about. So yeah, really glad I went to that one, just completely on the off chance, and yeah, just amazing. So I just had a lot of fun learning about St Martin's Croissants and how they're made, and they're a traditional white poppy seed croissant, of which I have a little sample, so I'm just going to give it a try in a minute. But it was very cool, really good story, and a brilliant little session. And yeah, it was just really fun seeing how they're actually made, what they, how they came about. It's a traditional story of a saint who came across a poor man and shared some of his cloak to keep him warm, and then ended up being visited by Jeebus or something in his dreams. I also learned a little bit about the goat clock. So in the main square there is a clock that at 12 o'clock every day, two little goats come out and butt heads, and it's just bizarre. It's just another one of these little local traditions which I just love. And it was something to do with, there was the town cook who burnt a meal and ended up bringing two goats into the town hall to try and cook them, and they escaped and ran up the town hall and got outside. They both wanted to get back in but they couldn't, so they were butting heads and fighting, and it made everyone very amused. And so the mayor at the time decided he was going to make a clock. So about 500 years ago that was what happened. Again, I don't know how true it is, but it's awesome to watch. I think I'm done here in Poznan for now. I've got about 2.5 to 3 hours of riding, so I'm gonna, it's now, 3 o'clock, so I'm gonna hit the mean streets of Poland, by which I mean probably the motorways, and head over to my next destination. Morning pals, I am currently in a city called Torun. I want to get a little bit more towards the eastern side of Poland today if I can, because I want to spend a bit more time in the 3 Baltic states. So I want to get over to Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. My next sort of fixed trip, if you like, is from Tallinn, which is next Monday. So I've got about a week to get my way to Tallinn, and I want to spend a little bit of time in each of the countries. So I want to basically make sure that I'm in Lithuania by maybe tomorrow evening. And that will give me a couple of days in each of the countries. That's kind of where I want to be, I think. Those are the three that I want to see the most of. So today, my plan is to spend a little bit of time in Torun, just having a quick look around. Spent a bit of time wandering around the city in the evening yesterday, which was really nice, actually. The thing that I'm finding really surprising is that, I say surprising, I don't suppose it is that surprising, is that the cities that I wouldn't normally have chosen to go to fly to, mainly because you can't, or because they're a little bit more awkward to get to, or perhaps not the ones that most people think of, those are the ones that I've actually enjoyed the most. And so I think maybe at the end of this series I'll do a little bit of the places that I enjoyed the most and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm finding it really surprising, and Torun is one of those. It's very pretty, it's not massive, interesting amount of nightlife going on, and it's just been really fun here. And Poznan was the same. It was a really fun little city and loads going on. There's so much to do. It's really vibrant. There's nice old town parts. It's very pretty, and just really enjoyed my time there. Torun is known as the kind of capital of gingerbread. Polish love their gingerbread. It's obviously a big Christmas staple, but they actually have gingerbread all year round. And Torun is known as one of the places where it was sort of born and made. So there are a couple of museums in the city devoted to gingerbread and making gingerbread. I think I'm going to pop to one of those this morning. It's now about 10:30. Had a bit of a lazy morning, had my own breakfast here, and I just want to get in and see a bit of that before I head off eastward. So that should be a bit of fun. I'll see if I can do some recording. I know that they sometimes, if there's tours and things, they're a little bit funny about video recording, so I might not be able to do too much of that. I haven't planned a stop. I haven't planned where I'm going to be tonight. Hitler's bunker was based at the Wolf's Lair, which was in sort of northeast Poland. They blew up the bunkers, I think, when they knew that they were done, but a lot of it is still preserved, and I think it's now a museum. There's lots to see there, so I kind of want to see if I can get to that point, seeing as I'm basically going that direction anyway. So I'm hoping that I can get to there at some point later today, so that I'm ready to go and visit it in the morning. It's about 4.5 hours away from here, so I can't imagine I'm going to be doing quite that much motorbiking, but I might actually get to the area today. It is Sunday, which means I imagine shops are going to be shut and it'll be a little bit quieter, which is nice. The roads might be a bit quieter as well, which I'm quite looking forward to, which is why I want to get out and try and do those miles if I can. But seeing as it's Poland, there's always restaurants open, there's always hotels available, and there's also always those little cafe, like supermarket things. There's little things, I think they're called Jabra, and it's like a tiny little, it's a bit like a Tesco Express. So they've got these tiny little shops, and some of them have a cafe in them, or like you can get hot food. But they are on literally every corner. It's so strange. It's like there's no competition. So they're just on every single street. And I'm not kidding. You can walk for 2 minutes and you'll see 4 of them. It's so mad. So there's probably a bunch of them about, I would imagine. So I'll be able to get a hot meal at some point if I wanted to get something cheap. But yeah, let's go around Torun and then get on the road, and I'll show you what I'm up to. I have just had a very nice afternoon learning how to make gingerbread. So it turns out there are two different types of gingerbread that used to be made and are still made now. One is the edible kind, which we all know as the sort of Lebkuchen style gingerbread. It's sort of slightly soft, very heavily spiced. So we're talking black pepper, star anise, cardamom, ginger, all sorts of things go into it. And then they also made a sort of more decorative type, which is the kind that we made. And it's a harder dough, bakes down, and then it's very, very hard once it's done in the very decorative, lovely molds. And they all meant things. They would give them, for things like a wedding, they would give you a sort of a little carriage, a horse and carriage with a bride and groom in it and things like that. So yeah, fascinating stuff. And we're talking, these things are like 700 years old. And so the tradition goes back quite a way. And yeah, we made our own little gingerbread. Mine came out quite well, I think. Quite happy with it. Hopefully I'm actually going to be able to get it home without it breaking, but we'll see. I certainly won't be eating it because it is very hard. So yeah, fingers crossed for me. I shall put it in one of the panniers and hope that it makes it. I also picked up some of these. So these are, again, the kind of gingerbread that they make, but with a sort of plum filling. You can get these everywhere in the city. They're quite popular over here, so, and I love it. It's great. So I'm going to bring them home with me. Yeah, good afternoon. I also learned just loads about the history of gingerbread and who was making it in the city. There could only ever be 4 master bakers of gingerbread at one time. It's also really fascinating how they used to make like decorative packaging for it back in the 1800s, like early 1800s. We're talking 1830s. One of the fellas was like, I need to make this popular again because we've got a bit of an economic crisis. I'm going to wrap it in like shiny foil and sell it that way. And that's where it really gained in popularity again. And it's just fascinating stuff. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Really good afternoon was had. I am heading to the bike. I'm going to push on now towards the east of Poland. I'm getting towards the Wolf Slayer is my next task, I think, because I'd like to go and visit that tomorrow. And then hopefully by the day after, I'll be in Lithuania. So I think that's the plan. I'm just going to go now. It's about 3 o'clock, so I want to go and get a few hours under my belt and see how I get on, and then I'll look for accommodation later. There'll be loads. I'm not too worried about it, so I'll just find something when I feel like I need to stop. I've really enjoyed my time out here in Torun. It's a really nice city actually, and well worth a visit. And nice little green space in the middle of the city, as most of these do. Lots of lovely squares. One thing I've noticed about most bigger European cities as well is that they have these misting posts. They're a bit like lampposts, like little lampposts, but they have a sort of, yeah, a fine water spray. It's like to try and drop the average temperature down in the middle of the city, which is a brilliant idea if you've got a very fluctuating climate, and obviously it's going to be worse over the next few years, I imagine. So these sorts of things are going to crop up even more. But what a brilliant idea. They just sort of poles that give off this mist. And yeah, I was reading about it. Apparently they can cool down city centres by about 7 degrees, which is incredible. So yeah, anyway, see you on the road. So I've done that thing that I know I shouldn't do, and I started off on the bike and I went, I'm going to ride in that direction, and every hour or so I'm going to get off and have a bit of a break, look around. And then the ride was too fun, or the places that I wanted to stop at or thought I might stop at just sort of whizzed past a bit too quickly. And yeah, I think I've been riding for about 2.5 hours non-stop. It's not good for my butt, so I got off in this very beautiful bit of forest for a quick break. It's coming up to about 7 o'clock now, and most places are starting to close, so I need to get in somewhere and eat before it gets too late on a Sunday. And I have found a place to stay as well. It's a little bit north of a town called Szczytno, which is about 25 or so kilometers in that direction, so I'm not too far now. So the idea is to stop in that town, grab a bite to eat, and then get over to my hotel for tonight. I think the hotel was about 30 something quid, 36 quid, which is amazing. 36 quid in what looks like a pretty good spot in the middle of the countryside, like well reviewed, all that kind of stuff. I do wonder if standards are slightly lower in Poland, because the ones that everyone seems to review particularly highly are the ones where I've stayed so far, and I've been like, I mean, they're fine, they're a bit run down, a bit tired and all that sort of thing. So I don't really know what constitutes good hotels in Poland anymore. But anyway, it's good enough for me. I'm not at all fussy. As long as it's got a comfortable bed and a shower, I'm pretty happy. Anyway, so yeah, not too far tonight. Again, good riding. I love Poland, but this part of Poland is quite boring. So most of north and central Poland seems to be, well, okay, most of central Poland, I should say, is pretty flat. There's a few rolling fields here and there, but the roads are really straight. There's, you know, you'll go through a few villages and things, and then all of a sudden there'll be a bit of forest like this, which is all right. But it is a little bit boring. The south of Poland, I think, is better, because that's where the mountainy areas are. So the Tatra Mountains and that sort of thing are in that area. But I couldn't make it work this time. So because the thing I want to see is the Baltics. So, you know, that's primarily where I'm heading. But it has made me think, actually, one of the things I really do enjoy about riding on the bike, and there's loads and loads of things that I just love about being on the bike, especially when you're exploring somewhere like Europe. The thing that really gets me is the smell, and that sounds odd, and obviously through some places you kind of wish you didn't smell your surroundings, but when you're going through forests like this, especially at this time of night where you've got well, especially at this time of day where you've got the sun's been hitting the trees and now it's just starting to cool off, you lift your visor up or you have your vents on and you can just smell the pine forest, and there's just nothing like that when you're on the bike, and you don't get that same sensation when you're driving. And there's just something about it that's really invigorating and you know, uniquely different to being on a bike. It's very nice. It's been very interesting riding through Poland as well, because the housing is very odd. Like in the towns, you kind of get these miniature flats. There's lots of those apartment blocks. And then out in the countryside, you've got basically very, very basic houses that look like they're made out of concrete, like really simple, with a couple of windows built into the front, like, you know, just a white block really, or a grey block, normally grey. And then you've got the bright white houses with the red roofs and a little bit of wood sort of built into them and all that kind of stuff, which is what I think most people expect when they see Poland. And not much in between. Yeah, you've either got this, like, you know, really pretty, what you'd expect, white building with a red roof, or you're living in a sort of concrete block. It's yeah, odd. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it. We're actually in bunker territory here, so lots of German bunkers exist in this area that were built back in the early-ish days of World War II, and so I would imagine as I go further, I'll just come across them on the highways. You don't tend to get that kind of stuff in the UK. A lot of that, you know, the pillboxes and things now are in the fields and you don't really see them all that much. Whereas here, I think they're 2 a penny. So I've been in this place, I think it's called Sachitno, for all of about 3 minutes, and no less than 2 people have walked past and said variants of nice bike, and one old man came up and gibbered at me in Polish for a full 4 minutes. I don't speak a word, so I had no idea what he was saying, and he shook my hand at the end. I think he was trying to say that he used to ride motorbikes, but it messes up his hair, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm in this little town, and I don't know what it is, but I turn up in these places and there's always something happening. So there's some sort of fair or something. I have no idea why, but there's people everywhere. There are balloons. No idea. So I'm gonna go and find a bite to eat, and then might go and explore and see what this is all about before I head off and find my hotel, which is another 20 kilometers or so away from here. Yeah, watch this space. Good morning. It's another beautiful sunny day here in, well, central eastern Poland. I realised I didn't actually finish up the video last night as I got back quite late, so I'm going to finish it now. Thanks for coming along as always. If you enjoyed the video, then hit like and subscribe so you can hear about the next ones. I also want you to leave me some comments as well on anything that you want me to answer in the next one. So I'm getting lots of questions from people on Instagram or on YouTube and like a couple of other places. And yeah, if you ask any questions, I'll have a bit of a Q&A session at the end of the next video. Yeah, and it can be anything really, just anything about the travel, about the things that I've seen so far, any of the countries that I've been to. Yeah, just anything you like really. But yeah, I'll leave it there. So I will see you next time at the Wolf Slayer. Cheers.